Ben Whittaker is fighting a guy called Benjamin Gavazzi, and this guy's record is 19-1-0. And once again, the conversation about whether Ben Whittaker is a hype job or the real deal has come to the forefront. Now, I am going to dissect this situation in a bit more detail in this video. But before I do that, I want to throw back the question to you guys. From what you've seen with Ben Whittaker right now, is he a hype job or is he the real deal? Get in the comment section and let me know. So look, the thing with Ben Whittaker is he's looked impressive, but he's looked impressive against fighters that are no good, right? He's been dancing in the ring. He's been moving like a chicken. He's been, hitting people on the head, just really making people look silly. And he's been getting a lot of attention for it. Now, some people love it. Some people hate it. This is boxing. It is entertainment business. And, whatever you do, people are going to attach themselves to it. But the most important thing is what you do in the ring and how you win fights and the titles you win in the ring. That is the most important thing in boxing. And Ben Whittaker right now is not at that level yet because of the fighters that he's been fighting. So to explore this further, we have to ask ourselves this question. Can Ben Whittaker beat the good fighters in the light heavyweight division? So I'm not talking about the elite guys in Artur Beterbiev or Dmitry Bivol or even now David Benavidez. I am talking about the guys below that. So I'm going to throw some names to you and let me know what you think. Does Ben Whittaker beat any of these guys? So for example, Joshua Buatsi. Does Ben Whittaker beat Joshua Buatsi right now? I don't think so. I think Buatsi is a bit more experienced. He's an Olympian as well. I think he's had a lot more experience, has some really good fights. He can take a shot. He can land some really good shot as well. And I think right now, he drowns Ben Whittaker if you make that fight. Someone like Dan Aziz. Does Ben Whittaker beat Dan Aziz? I think it could be a competitive fight to some extent. But I think Dan Aziz's experience will come on top in that fight. Because I think Dan Aziz is a bit more polished and has been at a level where he's fought some really tough fights. If you look at someone like Craig Richards, does Ben Whittaker beat Craig Richards? Once again, I don't think so. Because Craig Richards is a good fighter. He's had some really good fights. He can fight. He can get stuck in. And he can grind out wins. And that is something that we haven't seen Ben Whittaker do so far in his career. So, I would favour Craig Richards over him. Someone like Anthony Yarde. Do you see Ben Whittaker beating Anthony Yarde right now? I don't think so. Although Anthony Yarde was beaten by David Benavidez and, soundly beaten by David Benavidez. Anthony Yarde, for me, is a better fighter than Ben Whittaker right now. And if you put both of them in there, I can bet my money on Anthony Yarde stopping Ben Whittaker quite early in that fight because of the experience and, the ability between both fighters. So look, Ben Whittaker's situation is quite of a weird one because, let's face it, Ben Whittaker is 28. And at the age of 28, this fight against Benjamin Gavazzi should be his last fight where he's fighting opponents that nobody knows about. He has to step up, and he has to step up in the right way and take fights that are competitive. Like, there's no point Ben Whittaker fighting guys that he can dance around and behave silly in the ring and entertain the public. Ben Whittaker has to move on. He has to get on. And he has to take competitive fights. Because that's the only way we're going to know if he is the real deal or he's a hype job. So far, he's got a lot of, attention behind him. He's just signed with Matchroom, which I think is a positive thing because Eddie Hearn would know how to market someone like a Ben Whittaker and get the best out of him in terms of commercially, right? And then he's teamed up with, for me, in my opinion, one of the best trainers in Britain right now in Andy Lee. Because Andy Lee, I think he comes from the Kronk gym. He knows what he's doing. He's got a very good pedigree. He was a champion himself. So he knows how to mold a fighter and get the best out of a fighter. So I think Ben Whittaker, in terms of training setup, he is in a good hands. And Andy Lee, I think, will do a very good job with him. But of course, a trainer can only do so much with a fighter. It all depends on body mechanism. It all depends on the mental aspect, how much a fighter can take and how much they can't take. It all depends on the ability, the natural raw ability, and also, it depends on how much a fighter is willing to learn. So Andy Lee can only do so much. Ben Whittaker has to apply himself, and he has to be willing to step in the deep end to fight more competitively. And so far, with the guys that I mentioned, I don't think that he beats any of those guys. So look, Ben Whittaker has to step up after this fight. It's no more fighting, Uber drivers and guys that he's been beating and looking great against. It's time to step up after this, right? The questions are going to be asked. He is with Eddie Hearn right now, as I said. Eddie Hearn has the ability to make all the fights that would push Ben Whittaker, that would, answer the questions. Because when Ben Whittaker faced adversity for the first time in his career, we all saw what happened. He got out of the ring in a wheelchair and he was out of there. A lot of people said he quit. People was calling him Ben Whittaker. People were calling him also the names. And granted, he redeemed himself in a rematch, in a fight where many people had predicted Liam Cameron to beat Ben Whittaker in a rematch. And he went in there, he did a great job. He got Liam Cameron out of there in a pretty good fashion. And so, he goes on to the next step. But we've seen that he could not be someone that could take the pressure when it is mounted on him and when he has to fight out of a really difficult situation. Because I think Liam Cameron may have opened the doors for other fighters to exploit Ben Whittaker's mental fortitude and his ability to be resilient, his ability to duck deep, and his ability to get the win when things are not going his way. So I think there's a lot of questions about Ben Whittaker right now. Can he take a shot? Can he come back and win a fight when he's losing on the cards? Does he have the ability to change the trajectory of a fight when things are not going his way? Because the elite fighters, the fighters that are at the top, they have this ability to change something when things are not going your way. And is Ben Whittaker that type of fighter? Does Ben Whittaker have the ability to be able to change the trajectory of a fight when things are not going his way? So look, there's a lot of questions about Ben Whittaker, and he has to step up because at the age of 28, he is probably should be in his prime right now. When he turns 30 and he hasn't fought for a world title, and whether he's a hype job or the real deal, we're yet to find out, and we will find out very soon. You guys get in the comment section and let me know what you think about Ben Whittaker so far in his career. From what you've seen, is he a hype job or is he the real deal? Let me know in the comment section below.